forward line. Okay, still welcome. I'm Sander de Jong from HPE Netherlands. You look back at enterprise, I should say. Another dollar in the money pot because you get the name wrong again. I'm part of the pre-sales organization within HPE Netherlands, and in that perspective, I look at the world from an infrastructure view. And I think when I hear about everything today, I hear about shadow IT, I hear about DevOps, and I hear about all guys going around and deploying Docker and LXD containers everywhere. I think we have been not talking about this guy in the middle. This guy in the middle is the IT guy, the admin guy, which I used to be. I shouldn't move with the microphone.
I did.
Aren't you?
Yeah, but sorry. Go ahead.
So the guy in the middle is the admin guy, and he has to balance both worlds. He has to maintain his current IT infrastructure with his original legacy applications. He has to deploy them, keep them running, and on the other hand, he has to satisfy all the new guys coming in with the new tools and doing all those things. At this time, he can't do that. He can't support both platforms, and that's why we get the shadow IT, and why the developers are starting to deploy their own things on their laptops, on PCs, underneath somebody's desks, and before you know it, there's a lot more IT standing there than the normal infrastructure. So this guy in the middle has a real big problem of maintaining that. Within HP, we say, okay, we understand that world, that guy is still there, that guy still gets the IT budget, that guy still has to take all the responsibility and the risk of maintaining that and making sure that it is secure. So what we thought of at HP is that we make a composable infrastructure. So we make pools of CPU, of memory, of networking available, and we put a software-defined intelligence in there that allows us to configure compute nodes or compute resources on the fly based on what we need, and not based on the traditional way that we size a server for a specific workload, and then we buy that one and we put it in, and it does only that for the rest of its life. So how do we work with those fluid resource pools? Well, on top of that, we made sure that we put an API on there, because we all love APIs, because if we can talk to an API, you don't have to change things, you can just fire off that script again. So those fluid resource pools are consisting, of course, of HP hardware. We're not going to talk about that further on, but that API within HP has been defined because of this problem. Of course, you can build your own scripts, your own integrations, your own recipes, your own PowerShells, Form shells, batch files, BIOS settings, tools, etc. that you like, and you have to maintain that for storage, for networking, for servers, for your drivers, etc. And when we decide to change things in hardware, then you have to revisit one of these blocks and maintain that. So that's difficult, that's nasty, that's a lot of work, and unfortunately, usually not everything in those blocks is nicely documented, because that's sometimes vendor proprietary stuff in there. So what we did for HP stuff, we created HP OneView. HP OneView is an HP infrastructure management tool, so it provisions servers, physical servers. It puts profiles onto servers. Those profiles contain BIOS settings, firmware levels, network interface, adapter settings, SAN connections, and all kinds of information that makes a server the server with a specific personality that you want that server to have. And for the simple admin guys, we've got a nice little GUI, and it has all kinds of flashy graphics you can click on, and you can build your entire infrastructure on the GUI. So that's cool. That's software defined. It's converged. It's automated. It works all really well on the GUI. But what we are really interested in is, of course, this API that's also coming with it. So even if you wouldn't use the GUI in OneView, you have this simple new HPOV profile command available with a lot of parameters. You can pass it, and it will deploy a server, roll out a specific deployment on top of it, configure the networks, configure SAN settings, all the things that you need to apply to your server to make it work. And so that brings down your time from engineering all those startup scripts from 50 hours to several minutes. So that's pretty nice. And because we made that API in a modern time, we also made sure that it's a nice RESTful API, it's well documented. You can download a nice 80-page document about it, stating every parameter, every detail about the API, and that makes it easy for all of these tools and other provisioning tools to talk to that API and use that as is without having to engineer anything specifically for HP hardware components. So for DevOps, that will be a very easy way to talk to the OneView API on to deploy a physical server with an operating system with the levels and firmwares and all security stuff that the IT admin guy needs to have in place. But deploy that from a Docker perspective instead of doing that, making that black box from IT, giving that to the DevOps guy, and then go, I can't work with this because it's totally wrong. And so we can work together there. So this is what it would look like. You create a Docker machine, you load the driver for OneView, and from there on you can use the OneView commands just to fire off a new Docker plan and have a server built with that current build plan. So it's very easy, very quick to do. And because HP already used container technologies in our previous life, and we still did everything with HPUX as an operating system, and we also had the container technology in there. And as somebody in the beginning remarked, that already existed but was not open. Every Unix vendor had their own version of it, but we used it at that time in our own infrastructure. Currently we're also on industry standard servers. So for our own development platforms, and you can see it here, the drop-off, you can see the software build numbers versus the times that we did. So by providing our own IT guys, our own DevOps teams, the capabilities of spinning up a physical server, deploying their workloads on it, and removing it as needed, or reconfigure them as needed without any IT intervention, but still adhering, and HP being a very large company, we have very horrible, strict policies about security and things in place. Still maintain that security, maintain the control of IT about the builds, but give the DevOps team the capabilities to quickly and easily deploy their machines, which is pretty cool. So that brings me to your part, because I was expecting my movie between this part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. The movie.
So you confused me.
Just remember the bear. It's coming back in a few seconds. But bears are bad. That's the only thing I want to say.
Bear with us.
Bear with us.
Bad joke.
Bad jokes. Slecht.
So I have a little movie. I didn't do the live demo because everybody of us looking at booting a ProLiant server for about 5 minutes is getting really boring. And I can talk a lot, but 5 minutes watching a screen and figuring out what to say next is not my my best thing. So this little movie shows everything is being set up in the backend within OneView. So this is what we're doing in the GUI. So we're defining how a server should look, what network interfaces does it need to have, to what networks are they connected, what SAN storage does it need.
With this appliance.
Yeah.
So let's take a look.
Shall we mute the guy?
Yeah, mute the guy. Yeah. Yeah, no, we'll skip a bit through because it's showing all the underlying build plans that are for a server, and that's really boring to look at. So it's showing all kinds of network interfaces, VLANs,
Okay.
being configured for the
You
server.
do the talking.
Yeah. So for about 2 minutes 40, so it's showing the boot plans, and now it's going to the Docker engine, so it's logged on. So it's going to create a new Docker host system over a Docker machine. So this man is not very quick in typing, I can assure you. So I wish he had the copy and paste.
And he's French?
It's a French guy, yes, that's correct. That's correct. Yeah. That's a funny thing because the guy who's doing this is a French guy, and the voiceover guy is 3 different American guys. It's really funny to listen to this presentation. I was listening to somebody else before here, so that's why I muted the guy. So he now enables the OneView driver, and now he just copies and pastes the build plan that he wants to use for that machine. So he selects the build plan, and now he selects the template that goes with that server. So the template consists of the BIOS settings, the firmware settings, the network addresses, the SAN addresses, and additional SAN settings. So you will show that again, that there is no, that the server profile has just been created. And you can see that it's been done, the firmware is in there, the documents, the commands. And now he fires it off and connects to it. And you will see the entire workflow starting on the back end of powering on the server, putting the profile to the server, applying the firmware settings to it, deploying the operating system on it, configuring the operating system according to our HPE policies. And when I talk about this in about 5 minutes long, then the system is available and you can connect to your Docker instance and deploy your docs in there. Now you can see that it's starting. Fortunately, we cut this speeded up this piece of the movie. So now it's done, and you can connect to it, and then you're good to go. So this is something we provide to our own IT development DevOps guys. They can do that directly from their infrastructure, and they can include these commands as well in their final builds. And this allows them to build what we like to call infrastructure as a code. So instead of that you design your infrastructure from a beginnings perspective and you go to this whiteboard and you draw all these circles and servers and you attach them to each other, you just add the commands that you need for your infrastructure into your code, into your deployment of your package, instead of having the IT guy think of it for you and then having to go into a discussion with him why it's not good what he did. So he's just showing some commands, and he's showing the RESTful API of one view to get the details. So that's how easy it is to use, how easy it's to configure. You don't have to need to know anything specific about HPE infrastructure as a DevOps guy to enable it. You just add the commands and you assign the template and the build plan to it, and you're done. Done with configuring. And on that note, I would like to give it to the next step of DevOps, which is next to me. How you can put on top a bit more than just deploying hardware, and well, I want to explain how that goes.
Yep. Thank you for that, Sander.
If there are any questions, feel free to cut in now while you log in.
Yeah,
or otherwise, you can think about your question and ask it to me when it's finished.
Yeah, no,
I expect to get more questions.
Let's use this moment indeed to let the audience ask some questions in between. What I'm going to show is much more, let's say, the overlay. So how would you implement it in a DevOps strategy within your company? So let's open up for questions in between. That gives me 2 minutes to fire up my DM.
Oh, I don't even get a chance to use the mic.
Anybody?
How about other hardware vendors?
Yes, there are other hardware vendors, but we will not support them in one.
Okay, because I think it was your colleague was talking about Redfish, if I got it correctly.
Yeah, so Redfish is one of the projects that we do to make that API that we defined in all those tools you saw. So if other hardware vendors are willing to make their hardware platform tools adhere to those API calls, then we're fine with that, and that's Redfish.
Okay.
So we defined a set of APIs, RESTful API commands, that we implemented and we gave to the open source community. So if everybody will
And
also
are
do
you
that,
aware of
then
any
we're good.
vendors that are already doing something in that area?
Yeah, they're looking into it. We had the good fortune that we designed one view from the ground up to be a RESTful API. So that was one of the first major design principles. If you have some legacy application built on all kinds of horrible old third-party tools, then it might be a bit more difficult to get that to integrate to it. So they take some time to catch up. But the idea is to have those APIs in place. So when you rip out HP hardware, for example, and you put somebody else in, you can still use the API. You just only have to change the driver. And you saw yeah.
It's behind the firewall, doesn't it?
So you saw in Docker that I called the one view driver, and there you call your specific other vendor driver, and then the remaining commands should be the same.
Okay, thank you.
Is that 2 minutes? No.
No, it was enough. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Since I'm in between you and the next drink and the nice social talk with the guys you don't see only during these meetups, I will actually speed up, but I want to give you an overview of when we look at DevOps and integrating DevOps into your organization. What's the HPE vision on that? For that, I've sort of crafted together, I think, a nice demo of course, the famous pet clinic. Could have used the Hello World, but let's go for the pet clinic. So, story around here is we created this great application which has a front end and a back end database. And on the front end, of course, is the welcome page. We have our bears. And just in the newspapers, bears are very bad. They ate up a couple of Americans, so now we need to change the logo. So that will be our development challenge, to change the logo from the bears into those nice cats. It's bullshit, of course, we all know it, but it will just show the story behind it. Alright, let's go into it. So, what I'm going to show you is a complete ecosystem of how we develop, or how do we deal with development. And again, this is an example setup. You could have different variations of what we do. So what do? We will first put the task into what we call HPE Agile Manager, which is our agile management tool that's there to manage all the projects, all the sprints, and all the backlogs. That task is automatically pushed into the EDA tools that any coder is actually using, and from there the code is uploaded into Git, and then Jenkins looks at it and creates a package out of that, and from there it automatically deploys it into something we call Coder. And Coder is part of what we call CSA, and it's particularly handy to deploy any application package into any development environment or any environment that you have set up. So what you will do, you will create sort of a standard application setup. You will save it within what we call in Coder, and from there we have defined the different environments that you want to deploy this package to. Now, following the mantra of DevOps, we'll start in development, and now the animation should work. Yes. Okay, so you deploy the package automatically into development, and then somebody that has something to say about testing will actually look at it, and he or she will say, yes, it's green, and then it automatically goes into testing. From testing, mind the logos here behind. Testing could be where development could be a full Docker containerized setup. It could be on a single VM with lots of containers, lots of stages, lots of testing. The testing environment could be on a VMware environment, integrating or doing some specific tests that are needed for this application in the overall landscape. And then, well, you probably get the gist. Going into staging, where a different environment could be needed, so you will set up a different infrastructure setup. And then, after all, when that is passed or ignored, you can also have the testing saying, no, it's not good, then it will feed back into the developer that has to recode or renew some stuff, all the way up into production. Now, this could be a full automatic process if you have predefined tests that you want to run on each stage or on each environment, or it could be having manual interventions to do some manual testing or to do some manual updates. Point of this is that when we look at this one, we want to make sure that people that actually create code can focus on that main job, creating code. The developer should be working within his tools and creating great code for great applications, other than having to suffer from, and the story has been told before, having to suffer from their IT ops not being able to provide them with the right infrastructures. Right here, The developer will talk to the operations guys, and together they will actually create an environment that is suited to spin up these environments, or to spin up his or her application. While you also have the testing guys that want to check the code on the provided application. So let's go into that. Oh, this is the end result, sorry. So let's go into my VM, where I have set up this same environment. There we go. So let me start. Resolution is a little bit different. Doesn't matter. So let me bring up the same environment. As I said, the resolution is a little bit different. Oh, that's small. This should be okay. Right, so I have the same here. This is our demo setup in Grenoble, France, where I, from here, with a single mouse click, I can enter all these environments. So let's quickly animate what I just showed on PowerPoint. Let's show how that would actually look like. I will shortcut it here and there, otherwise it will be a very lengthy one. I think we all get the gist of it. So let's first check this this backlog of coding that is there. I'm showing HPE Agile Manager over here, which has a lot of functionalities to manage all your backlogs, all your sprints and everything. But right now we're looking actually in release management. So let me open that one up. Oh, it's already open, sorry. Now, here we, for this particular sprint and this particular user, we see that there's one task for this person to change the picture. As mentioned, the bears need to be changed in something. So somebody has created it, has prioritized it, has assigned it to a certain developer, and that guy will actually need to create the code for that. So let's step into that. So we're right now, an Agile Manager will push it into Eclipse. I've chosen for Eclipse in this demo. So let's open up Eclipse. Let's get the latest and greatest in. So let me pull the latest one. There's no update. Okay, that's fine. And following best practice, this is the direct link into Agile Manager, where all the tasks that are assigned to me are being populated. And from here, I could actually activate it. Now, as you can see, it's already activated. I'll just follow the sequence and activate it, and that actually opens up my task that I need to do. So right now, I'm here, and I can see that the picture is spelled ours, which is
It's a French bear. Ours.
which is already the bear. So no, sorry. Pets is actually the cat, and ours is actually the bear. So the code is already there.
No, it's the bear
You
now.
still need to change the to the cats.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry. It is good. Okay, so pets. There you go. Fine. Save it. Let's do a trick. Now the French guys are going to hate me if I don't remove that. So I like that.
And you didn't make a change about it.
All right, let's commit this code. Okay, so I saved it. Let's commit it and commit a push. Now I need to log over to this one. Yeah, still the right password. So here I can see what I'm going to change. It's fine. All right. So right now I've done what a developer actually should do, and that's producing code, finishing these tasks, and move on to the next one. In the back end, and that's more the interesting process, of course, what is happening right now. So right now I've pushed the code into Git, and Git is actually looking at it. So let's log on to that one and see what has happened. As you can see, in less than a minute somebody did an update on this particular project. So that's fine. So now let's go into Jenkins and see what is happening over there. Okay, so as you can see right now, build 254 is in a pending stage, and right now it starts the deployment, and it's being deployed right now. Now as you can see, I also have a live link over here into build 253, which, let's open it up just to be compliant with all of that. Let's open it up. Why doesn't it open up? Is it this one? Yeah. I think it's this one. Alright, so anyway, that's the bear. This is being deployed. Now we can sit and wait until this is finished, or let's check the background. Let's see what is happening in the back with this service. So, just for the overview, where's my overview? Yeah. Right now, Jenkins is pushing this one through Coder, and right now this development environment is already being provisioned with the right setup of our pet clinic application. So let's have a look. So from there, I will actually log on to Cloud Service Automation, and let's do it from here. Now this is the design. Now this is all interesting. This is the design behind it. I won't go into that kind of detail yet. Let me first follow the deployment of this build. Now, there you can see it's already being built, but let's start from the beginning. Alright, so any build that we have specified, and this is the build that we have specified for running through these environments. Here you can already see that there are 58 builds of that in development. This is test, this is acceptance, and this is production. So let's look on this version and see what's up. Now it should actually open up. Hey, Murphy kicked in finally. That's not nice. Okay, any suggestions? Wait. It looks like it's not the connection as such. I'm afraid so, but that would actually require me to log on to everything again. Take that. Right. Anyone?
Oh, that worked.
Okay. Alright. Our patience will hopefully be rewarded. Yes, finally. There we go. Alright, okay, so let's just quickly go back to, as you can see right now, build, it's available already. 254 is being built. It's already up and running, so that's kind of an indication that it was a success, but let's show it from the admin or the ops perspective. My system finally allows me. Alright, so what I just showed you is that this build is automatically being built in the development environment and is indicated as 254, and from there, I don't know what's happening. From there I can actually see what has happened. I can view the deployment, of course, and I can see that it's already online. Do I have more detail available? Yes, I do, because from the events from this particular build I can see actually what was initiated, and I can go to the nitty level of what we call operations orchestration flows that will show me, of course, no, that's for the other one then. has to do with the rights. So I'm probably, I've been looking, let's just reinitiate it. Let's see what happens. And otherwise I will. Yeah, there we go. All right. So by clicking on the event, what I'm actually doing is showing what is actually happening in the background. So this is a HPE tooling. It's called Operations Orchestration, but it shows you every single step of this deployment of what has happened where. It's particularly handy if things go wrong, because it will give you an indication of which step. So just imagine that, well, let's say this step, this final step, went wrong over here. Then I can go actually drill down into the details of that one. Now this is just the order of events. This is cloud. This is orchestration of a workflow, but it will also give me the step details of what has been initiated by whom, when, how, for what. Handy for audit logs, handy for security guys. So it was successful. The deployment was successful. So let's go back to the, let's say, the tester level. As mentioned, I am in the wrong one. Yes, pre-builds, we'll leave that. So, alright, let's go back to the release pipeline. Okay, code, that's one click too many, sorry for that. Yes, alright. So, right now I'm just putting up the head of a tester that actually wants to test this application and see what has happened, and then I can do all these DevOps tricks that I would like to do. I can either say redeploy it again with some other characteristics, or I can actually say promote. And promote means confirmation is needed. Do you want that? Yes, I want to promote this package. This actually literally means that it has been promoted into the next stage, and the next stage is testing. And this is just a testing or a promotion in terms of promoting the package itself as such, and then I can actually initiate a deploy, which will allow me to say, let's say news deploy. I can do the test, but that's boring. Let's say that's clinic. Choose the environment. I have multiple. If I have multiple environments available, I can choose these environments. I can do next. I can choose the service design that I want to base it upon. In this case, it's the testing environment that I want to do, and I will do a deploy. And right now, it will actually redeploy the entire application, but then in a vCenter environment, not in a Docker, but in a vCenter environment. And then I can continue to promote and test and go the entire cycle of a DevOps cycle. So just to summarize, where will we here? Sorry. Just summarize, I've just shown you how you could go in there and then promote it to this, promote it to that, promote it to that. So that's the complete end-to-end cycle, and let's just open it up from Jenkins to see actually that the code that we redeployed did actually work. Yeah, there we go. So we redeployed the package, and now we can follow this package throughout the entire state. So you can see that the IP address over here is from the Docker container. Next stage it could have been on a vCenter. Next stage it could be on a physical machine as well. So with that, I would actually want to thank you all, because I think that was the last one I wanted to show from this perspective. Of course, we have a lot of links, and I think you all know our website and know how to find this, but we have a lot of information available either on what I've just shown you on the coder. We have the expert sitting there at the back, Niels Tekens. Thank you, Niels, for joining. Also, if you want to hear more about our Staccato, our Helium development platform path, we will be around, Tom will be around, I will be around, Sanne will be around. So, any question? Either it was entirely clear or we all need a drink. So. Probably the last. All right. Tom, any closing remarks, words?
Yeah, so on the website you'll also find lines of code that you can use to do your Docker deploys with your HPE server. Niels will be available, Sander will be available to do add-on demos that you might want to see. And if people so want to, there is an opportunity to have a look inside our demo data center, to have a look at some good old-fashioned servers and storage and stuff. And for now, if there's no additional questions, I would say you're welcome to enjoy some slices of pizza and a drink.
Like this. Commit? Yeah. And you forgot. If you see the workflow diagrams, that's a bit scary to set all of that up.